Welcome to Brainy Vibes, your go-to spot for mind-blowing facts about science, nature, and the mysteries of our world. If you love uncovering incredible truths and fascinating stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out. Science is the pursuit of knowledge, but sometimes, that pursuit leads us down dark, dangerous, and downright disturbing paths. Today, we're diving into 10 real-life experiments that went catastrophically wrong, from unethical human trials to explosive lab disasters. Buckle up, this is science at its most insane. Number 10. The ice pick lobotomy craze. Imagine a doctor performing brain surgery with an ice pick, hammering it through your eye socket while you're awake. This was the reality for thousands of patients in mid-20th century America. Dr. Walter Freeman, a neurologist without formal surgical training, popularized the transorbital lobotomy, a procedure intended to treat mental illness by severing connections in the brain's prefrontal cortex. Inspired by Portuguese neurologist Antonio Egas Moniz, who developed the original lobotomy technique, Freeman sought to simplify the procedure so it could be performed in psychiatric hospitals lacking surgical facilities. Freeman's method involved inserting an orbitoclast, resembling an ice pick, under the patient's eyelid and tapping it through the thin bone into the brain. He performed this procedure on over 3,500 patients, including children as young as 4. Notably, Rosemary Kennedy, sister of President John F. Kennedy, underwent a lobotomy at age 23, resulting in severe mental and physical disabilities. While some patients showed temporary improvement, many suffered from complications such as seizures, personality changes, and even death. Freeman's lack of surgical precision and disregard for sterilization led to numerous fatalities. In one instance, he paused mid-procedure to take a photograph, causing the instrument to penetrate too deeply and kill the patient. Despite mounting criticism, Freeman continued his lobotomy tours across the U.S., performing procedures in makeshift settings. His partner, neurosurgeon James Watts, eventually distanced himself due to ethical concerns. By the late 1950s, the advent of antipsychotic medications rendered lobotomies obsolete, and Freeman was banned from performing surgery in 1967. Freeman's legacy serves as a grim reminder of how medical practices, once hailed as breakthroughs, can become cautionary tales of hubris and ethical neglect. Number 9. Ilya Ivanov's human-ape hybrid experiments. In the 1920s, Soviet biologist Ilya Ivanov embarked on a controversial quest to create a human-ape hybrid. Funded by the Soviet government, Ivanov attempted to inseminate female chimpanzees with human sperm, aiming to produce a new species that could serve as a labor force. The experiments failed, and Ivanov's work was met with international outrage. Ethical concerns and the lack of scientific rigor led to his eventual arrest and exile. Ivanov's attempts remain a dark chapter in the history of genetics, highlighting the dangers of unchecked scientific ambition. Number 8. The Rainbow Flame Experiment Disaster. In 2017, a classroom science demonstration known as the Rainbow Flame Experiment went horribly wrong at a preschool in Houston, Texas. The experiment involves burning various metal salts to produce colorful flames. However, the teacher added an excessive amount of alcohol to the mixture, causing a sudden explosion. 12 children, aged 3 and 4, suffered burns and were hospitalized. The incident sparked a nationwide re-evaluation of safety protocols for school science experiments. It serves as a grim reminder that even simple demonstrations can have dangerous consequences if not conducted with proper precautions. Number 7. The MKUltra Mind Control Program. During the Cold War, the CIA initiated Project MKUltra, a clandestine program aimed at developing mind control techniques. Experiments involved administering LSD and other psychoactive drugs to unwitting subjects, including prisoners and mental patients, to study their effects on the human psyche. One of the most tragic cases was that of Frank Olson, a CIA scientist who was unknowingly dosed with LSD and later died under suspicious circumstances. The program's unethical methods and lack of oversight led to severe psychological damage for many participants. Public outcry eventually led to congressional hearings and the program's termination. Number 6. The cold fusion fiasco. In 1989, chemists Martin Fleischmann and Stanley Pornse announced a groundbreaking discovery. They had achieved cold fusion, a process of nuclear fusion at room temperature. The scientific community was electrified, as this promised a limitless, clean energy source. However, attempts to replicate their results failed, and scrutiny revealed flaws in their methodology. The media frenzy turned into skepticism, and the scientific community largely dismissed their claims. The incident serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of peer review and reproducibility in scientific research. Number 5. The 21 grams soul experiment. In the early 1900s, Dr. Duncan MacDougall attempted to measure the human soul's weight. He hypothesized that if the soul had mass, it could be detected by weighing a person at the moment of death. Using a specially designed bed scale, he claimed to observe a weight loss of 21 grams at death. The experiment was riddled with methodological flaws, including a small sample size and imprecise measurements. Moreover, MacDougall's unethical treatment of animals, including the euthanasia of dogs for similar tests, drew criticism. His conclusions were largely dismissed by the scientific community but have persisted in popular culture. Despite its flaws, MacDougall's claim, that the soul weighs 21 grams, captured the imagination of the public and inspired countless pop culture references, including movies, books, and documentaries. His work highlights how pseudoscience can blur into spiritual belief, especially when sensationalized. Modern science has thoroughly debunked the premise, attributing the observed weight loss to natural bodily processes at the time of death, such as air leaving the lungs or bodily fluids evaporating. Still, the notion persists in metaphysical discussions and remains one of the most bizarre experiments ever recorded under the banner of science. Number 4. The Demon Core Incidents. The phrase demon core sounds like something from a sci-fi horror movie, but it's chillingly real. In the mid-1940s, during the Manhattan Project, scientists were working on a subcritical mass of plutonium, intended for a third atomic bomb. But what happened next would haunt the labs of Los Alamos forever. In 1945 and again in 1946, two different scientists, Harry Daghlian and Louis Slotin, died in separate criticality accidents involving the same 14-pound plutonium core. Both incidents occurred during demonstrations or experiments that involved manually manipulating neutron reflectors, without adequate safety equipment. In Slotin's case, a screwdriver slipped, closing the gap between the reflectors and causing a deadly burst of neutron radiation. Both men succumbed to radiation poisoning within days, suffering agonizing symptoms. Their colleagues nearby also received heavy radiation doses. These incidents forced a major re-evaluation of nuclear safety protocols. The core, deemed too dangerous to handle again, was never used in a bomb and earned the nickname the Demon Core. These events remain some of the most notorious examples of scientific arrogance leading to lethal outcomes, and underscore how razor-thin the line can be between breakthrough and disaster. Number 3. The Tuskegee Syphilis Study. One of the darkest chapters in medical history unfolded over 40 years in Tuskegee, Alabama. Beginning in 1932, the U.S. Public Health Service conducted a study on 600 African American men, 399 of whom had syphilis. The tragedy? The men were never told they had the disease. Researchers told participants they were being treated for bad blood. Even after penicillin was discovered as a cure in the 1940s, they were deliberately denied treatment, so scientists could study the long-term effects of untreated syphilis. Many died slow, painful deaths, others went blind or insane, and the disease was passed on to spouses and children. This inhumane experiment continued until a whistleblower went public in 1972. The resulting outrage led to congressional hearings, a formal apology from President Bill Clinton, and sweeping reforms in medical ethics. The Tuskegee study is now a cornerstone case in bioethics, emphasizing the need for informed consent, transparency, and oversight in clinical trials. Number 2. The Stanford Prison Experiment. What happens when you put good people in an evil place? Psychologist Philip Zimbardo tried to answer that question in 1971, but what unfolded was more like a psychological horror film than a study. At Stanford University, volunteers were randomly assigned as prisoners or guards in a mock prison. The experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks. Within 24 hours, guards began abusing prisoners, physically, verbally, and emotionally. Some participants had mental breakdowns. One was so traumatized, he had to be removed early. Zimbardo himself got too involved, acting as the prison superintendent instead of an impartial observer. The study was shut down after just 6 days. Critics have since questioned its scientific validity and ethical standards, but its implications are chilling. Given power and a lack of accountability, ordinary people can quickly turn cruel. Number 1. The Chernobyl Disaster Simulation. On April 26, 1986, Soviet engineers at Chernobyl nuclear power plant ran a safety test that spiraled into the world's worst nuclear disaster. Ironically, the test was meant to simulate what would happen in a power outage. The result? Reactor 4 exploded, releasing deadly radiation into the air. Operators had disabled crucial safety systems to run the test. When instability grew, they tried to shut it down, but it was too late. The reactor blew, destroying the facility and contaminating large parts of Ukraine, Belarus, and beyond. Dozens died in the immediate aftermath, and thousands more have suffered from radiation exposure since. The disaster exposed the catastrophic flaws in Soviet engineering secrecy and crisis response. It also triggered international reforms in nuclear safety, transparency, and emergency planning. The haunting ruins of Chernobyl remain a symbol of the risks of human error in high-stakes science. Thanks for watching. Which of these science experiments shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Brainy Vibes for more amazing facts every week. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and stay brainy.